Hi Math 65. This is the video for lesson 107, which is located on page 554 of your textbook and is scheduled for Monday, April 6th. This lesson deals with percents, which we've dealt with some before, so a little bit of it's going to be review. We're going to take two concepts that we've learned and then we're going to combine them. So I'm going to review both of those concepts quickly first. So first part of review is about percent. When we think about percent, we think of out of 100. Remember that root word of cent, like a cent, like a penny, is 1 penny out of 100. Pennies required to make $1. A cent, like century, is 100 years. So though that word cent, we automatically think 100. So a percent is out of 100. Some percent out of 100. So for example, 10% of something means 10 out of 100 total. 60% would be 60 out of 100. 25% would be 25 out of 100. We've covered all of that before. So that's why I put review next to it. That's kind of review for us. So that's one concept, is about percentage. The other thing we have done that is a little bit of review here is, and this is concept number 2, and then we're going to combine the two concepts. Renaming fractions. So if we're given the fraction 8/20ths, and we've been told, we've done equivalent fractions, equal fractions, we've called them a variety of things. Renaming fractions is another way to say it. Basically, we find an equivalent fraction to 8/20ths with a denominator of 100. So when we have done that, we have set up our fraction as 8/20ths is equal to something, which we don't know quite yet, over 100. And what we've done is we've multiplied both the numerator and the denominator by the same number to get to 100. So if we look at 20 and what we need to multiply it by to get to 100, we would say times 5. That's kind of a messy 5, but times 5 would get us 100. 20 times 5 would get us 100. And up top, we have to do the same thing to the denominator and to the numerator. Remember, because that is equal to 5 over 5 equals 1 if it was a fraction. It's like we're multiplying it by 5 over 5. Because if you take any fraction or number and you multiply it by 1, you get the same number, or an equal fraction in this case. So 8 times 5 is 40. So that is our equivalent fraction. Okay? One piece of information that's a little bit new today is that the fraction bar here can replace the words out of in a word problem when we're dealing with percents. So for example, going back up to, make sure it's still 10 out of 100 as a fraction would be 10 over 100. 60 out of 100 would be 60 over 100. So you see where the out of is being replaced with a fraction bar. 25 out of 100, 25, my fraction bar for out of 100. Okay? So that's something that we're going to use in our problems also. So now we're going to take these concepts and combine them using some word problems. So if a bag, let me make sure I'm on screen here. I'm always worried that I am dropping off the screen. If a bag contains 50 pieces of candy and 10 pieces are green, then what percent of the candy pieces are green? Okay, so we know that first we always start with what we know. Word problems always give you something to start with. So we have to start with what we know. We know a total number of pieces is 50, and we know that 10 pieces are green, and we want to know what percent is green. So if I was to say 10 pieces, make me a fraction and say 10 pieces out of my 50 pieces are green. I got that info from the words in the word problem. 10 pieces are green out of a total of, the bag contains 50. So I can make that fraction. Now, I know I have to end up in a percent. And as a fraction, we know a percent is out of 100. Because we just did our examples up top for percent. So I know that I've got to change 10 out of 50 into some number out of 100 to make it a percent. So I do the same thing where I rename my fraction. If to go from 50 to 100, I'm going to have to multiply my denominator by 2 and to get to 100. So I have to do that to my numerator because 2 over 2 is the same as 1, right? So 10 times 2 is 20. Now, 20 over 100 as a fraction, we know 20 out of 100 is the same as 20%. Okay? In the same way, up here, that 10 out of 100 equaled 10%. 60 out of 100, 60%. 25 out of 100, and the fraction, 25% as a percentage. So 20 out of 100 is 20%, because percent means out of 100. So our answer there would be 20%. What percent of the candy pieces are green? 20% is green. Okay?